An update on those lights in the sky I told you about. It was just Starlink. I don't think my ride is ever coming.
This is Mac OS Ken.
A record day before yesterday for Apple shares. Apple's new Macs make the scene, and a security measure for Apple Vision Pro. It is Wednesday, the 14th of June, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Use code MacOSKen50 at factormeals.com/MacOSKen50 for 50% off your first box. This show is also sponsored by SimpliSafe, the right way to protect your home. For you, the right way may be with a little help. I always say one of the things I love about SimpliSafe is how easy it is to set up, how I had my system up and running on my own in under an hour. That's me. Maybe you've got mobility issues, or maybe you just want somebody who's more familiar with the system to get it going for you. No problem. SimpliSafe can put you together with a certified technician to make that whole thing happen. I like that you can choose the individual pieces to keep your home secure. Maybe that's not you, and that's fine too. SimpliSafe has packages put together that may suit your home to a T. I guess what I'm saying is, whether you're a do-it-yourselfer or a somebody-do-it-for-me type, SimpliSafe has you covered. They were named Best Home Security of 2023 by U.S. News & World Report, so take a few minutes and find out why. Right now, get 20% off your new system when you sign up for interactive monitoring. Visit simplisafecom/MacOSKen. SIMPLI. That's simplysafe.com/MacOSKen. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Nothing gold can stay, they say. Seems that's even true for gold. Apple shares close at record and latest sign of big tech's dominance. That was a Bloomberg headline I missed on Monday. According to that piece, shares rose 1.6% to end the Monday session at $183.79. That was Apple's first closing high since January of 2022, though it hit an intraday record after it unveiled its Vision Pro mixed reality headset last week. As of Monday, Apple's valuation stood at $2.89 trillion. That put it back within striking distance of achieving a historic $3 trillion valuation, according to Bloomberg. Commenting on the stock, the site had Phoenix Financial Services analyst Wayne Kaufman saying, Apple has a roadmap people are comfortable with, it has unbelievable cash flow, and you can't do better than this incredible business model. We're seeing people come back following the bear market, and Apple is just one of the stocks where investors are comfortable owning it, whether it goes up or down, because they're confident they'll make money over the long run. In the markets, though, as in life, some people are looking for Mr. Right, and others are looking for Mr. Right now. I said the other day that KeyBank analyst Brandon Nispel might need to do something soon about either his rating on Apple shares or his price target. When I said so, he was sitting on a buy rating for Apple shares and a price target of $180, with shares trading around $181. So far, Mr. Nispel seems to have made no move, though it turns out he was not the only analyst in the exact same position. When I said that about Nispel, I figured he would either have to raise his 12-month price target on Apple shares or lower his rating on them. Leave it to UBS analyst David Vogt to surprise me, taking both roads. He had a buy rating on Apple shares and a 12-month price target of $180, Then a piece from Barron says he got worried about a possible slowdown in iPhone sales and what such a slowdown might do to Apple services. The piece says UBS ran research recently covering plans to buy iPhones over the next 12 months. Those plans are said by the analyst to be stable to slightly down compared to similar research 6 months ago. That sent vote to his keyboard where he clacked out, tough comps, macro headwinds, and slowing growth in the iPhone installed base will result in a material deceleration in services revenue growth in fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24. We expect Apple TV Plus, Music, and Apple Care growth to slow following strong COVID-driven growth in prior years and slowing growth in the installed base of iPhones following a decline in unit sales during fiscal year 23. Has he not heard about Apple Vision Pro, though? Yeah, he seems to have, though that's going to be a slow build or burn or something. The note says he and his do not expect new products to be a material revenue and profit contributor over the next several years. And with that, Vote raised his 12-month price target on Apple shares from $180 to $190. He also cut his rating on the shares from buy to neutral. I'm not saying that kept Apple shares down on Tuesday. It's almost always more than one thing. That said, it probably was one of the things. Apple shares ended Tuesday off 0.5%, ending at $183.31. Barron says shares hitting $190.74 would push Apple's valuation back to $3 trillion. Yesterday was new Mac Day for some. Not new Mac announcements, those happened a week ago. According to a piece from Mac Rumors, though, Apple's latest machines are out to the planet. Interestingly, if you recall buying off the rack, the 15-inch MacBook Air, as well as the M2 Max and M2 Ultra Mac Studios, were available to walk in and buy on Tuesday. At least they were at the SoCal stores that I checked. And what of the modular Mac that's too large to live little? Yeah, had I ordered a Mac Pro on Tuesday, I'd have been staring at it, delivered, next Thursday, the 22nd of June. Ordering for pickup, I was looking at being able to do so between the 22nd and the 26th of June. I found no in-store availability for that machine on Tuesday. Seriously, though, who wants to buy a Mac Pro with no customization? Might as well buy a Mac Studio. Speaking of which, if you've heard the benchmark scores for the M2 Ultra-powered Mac Studio, a piece from Mac Rumors says, you've pretty much heard the benchmark scores for an off-the-shelf 2023 Mac Pro. The piece says the first Geekbench 6 benchmark results turned up for the Cheese Grater Deluxe on Tuesday. According to the report, the result lists a single-core score of 2,794 and a multi-core score of 21,453, compared to 1,378 and 10,390 for the highest-end Intel-based Mac Pro with a 28-core Xeon W processor, a configuration that started at $12,999. That makes the new machine almost twice as fast for a little over half the price. The M2 Ultra Mac Pro starts at $6,999. Now, if those benchmark numbers sounded familiar, well, they did sound like numbers. Also, they were virtually identical to the scores for the M2 Ultra Mac Studio that surfaced a few days ago. Same base performance for a little over half the price. The M2 Ultra Mac Studio starts at $3,999. Again, prompting the question and comment, who wants to buy a Mac Pro with no customization? Might as well buy a Mac Studio. I know, you want your expansion ports, and seriously, who can blame ya? Every Mac Pro comes with a shiny aluminum casing and a mystery. According to yet another report from Mac Rumors, the fine print on Apple's modular machine lists it as a product of Thailand. Still drawn up in California, according to the fine print. Then Mac Rumors says it is still pieced together in Austin, Texas. And yet, while the fine print on the 2019 Mac Pro said, designed by Apple in California, assembled in USA, the fine print on the new machine says, designed by Apple in California, product of Thailand, final assembly in the USA. Apple has not indicated why a product of Thailand label was added to the Mac Pro, according to the report. More news in a moment, but first a word from Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit and sponsor of today's show. Does having food delivered seem extravagant? It is not with Factor. It's cheaper than takeout and faster too. 10 minutes in the oven or 2 minutes in the microwave, and you are enjoying great meals like creamy Parmesan chicken, broccoli cheddar ground beef, or chorizo chili with cumin spice broccoli and ancho lime crema. I have had each of those, and each of those was delicious. The ingredients are fresh, never frozen, and they take care with the rest of their business too. Factor offsets 100% of their delivery emissions to your door, sources 100% renewable electricity for their offices and production sites, and features sustainably sourced seafood in their meals. Which are your meals? Which I think you're gonna love. Head to factormeals.com/macOSKen50 and use code macOSKen50 to get 50% off your first box. That's code macOSKen50 at factormeals.com/macOSKen50 to get 50% off your first box. Taste what has made Factor America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Get 50% off your first box with code macOSKen50 at factormeals.com/macOSKen50. Security today and a likely sticking point at some point. A report from UploadVR says Apple plans to lock down access to the cameras on its upcoming headset, Apple Vision Pro. According to the report, Apple touted capturing spatial photos and videos as a selling point for Vision Pro, but in a WWDC 23 developer talk, an Apple engineer confirmed third-party developers don't get access to camera feeds, citing privacy concerns. So how are developers supposed to build augmented reality apps if they can't see the reality they're augmenting? Quoting the report again, developers can build apps that use real-world pass-through as the background, and the headset's APIs tell them about services and furniture in the user's space. But they won't get actual access to the actual camera imagery as they do on iPhone and iPad. Now, finding that out, I assumed that Apple was going above and beyond on the privacy and security thing. Turns out, though, it's kind of an industry standard. According to the piece, Meta blocks straight camera access on Quest headsets due to privacy concerns. HTC blocks it on the Vive XR Elite, according to the report. ByteDance also blocks raw camera access on the Pico 4 at the consumer end, though the Pico 4 Enterprise does allow such access. The apps formerly known as iWork got reworks this week. Apple Insider says Pages, Numbers, and Keynote for iOS, iPadOS, and macOS all got updates on Tuesday. New features for Pages include being able to edit notes docs in the more full-featured Pages app, new templates for business reports, school papers, and greeting cards, the ability to add scalable vector graphics or SVGs to your documents, preserving visual quality at any size, the ability to tear down imported SVGs and save them in the Shapes library, the ability to incorporate SVGs into books in the EPUB format, including for cover art, changes to how subtotals are handled in various charts, and the ability to export document pages as image files. Specific to the iOS and iPadOS updates, the piece says Pages now supports ProRes videos, letting users insert and play them directly in the Pages docs. See also Numbers and Keynote for most of that. The big lift seemed to have been for Pages. Apple spreadsheet and presentation apps also got the new subtotal handling mentioned for Pages. They also got the ability to add, break down, and save SVGs. Numbers for iPhone and iPad also got the ProRes video support added to Pages, and Keynote got the ability to easily switch to your slideshow window when sharing Keynote on a FaceTime call. The apps are free, and so are their updates. They're available now in their respective app stores for Macs running macOS Monterey 12.3 or later, iPhones running iOS 15.4 or later, and iPads running iPadOS 15.4 or later. And finally today, are you like me? Have you pretty much forgotten everything that happened in the first season of the ambitious Apple TV Plus series Foundation? Can't really blame either of us. It's been over a year and a half since the first season ended. If you want to do it all again before season 2 starts, you've got 1 month. And if you want a hint at what's to come, you can get one now. Following a sneak peek and a teaser, a piece from Engadget says Apple TV Plus has finally released the official trailer for Season 2 of Foundation. The fate of the galaxy is still in the balance, of course. Lee Pace, Jared Harris, Lou Lobel, and other series originals are making the next leg of the journey. 10 episodes in Season 2. They will run one a week on Apple TV Plus beginning Friday, the 14th of July. Between now and then, you can catch the trailer on YouTube. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get 20% off your new system when you sign up for interactive monitoring at simplysafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Factor. Use code macOSKen50 at factormeals.com/macOSKen50 for 50% off your first box. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.